Well, welcome to another conversation for the Millionairess magazine and the Millionairess movement. I'm Amanda Jane Clarkson, editor-in-chief. And today I'm delighted to be joined by entrepreneurial powerhouse and jump rope queen, Janine Delaney, who is gracing this month's cover of our Millionairess magazine. Janine has a Ph.D. in industrial organizational psychology, and her background includes over 20 years of corporate consulting and entrepreneurial experience in a variety of organizations, including Fortune 500 clients. Nowadays, Janine shares her passion for health and wellness, just take a look at her, on a variety of social media platforms and has amassed over 3 million followers. That's right, 3 million followers globally, sharing her lifelong journey from professional ballet as a young adult to competing in bodybuilding championships at the age of 40. Between her career as a psychologist, lifestyle and wellness coach, influencer, entrepreneur, and raising 2 beautiful teenage daughters, Janine understands that it's not easy to find time to exercise and eat healthily. So whether you're in your 20s looking to put on some muscle, I certainly am. I'm not in my 20s, your 30s, looking to get your figure back after having children, or even looking to shed those last few pounds as you enter your 40s. That's where I am. Janine can help you make the changes that get the results you want, empowering your mind, your body, and your soul. Wow, what an intro. Welcome, Janine. We are so delighted to have you in our magazine, so thank you for sharing your time with us.
Oh, I'm so flattered. What a wonderful introduction, and thank you for having me.
Oh, I'm so thrilled to jump into these questions. As I said, the intro was about this long. I could have kept going. It's such an interesting story. So why don't you share with our lovely ladies how your journey began to where you are today?
Of course. Well, so for those of you who know me on social media, I am nicknamed the Jump Rope Queen. Hence, I have my jump rope here today. But my journey started many years ago in the area of health and wellness when I was a young girl and I danced professional ballet. And as you mentioned, I have not spent the most part of my career in that area. I am a corporate psychologist, but it's just really always been a passion of mine and something that I continue to pursue throughout the decades in different ways. So when I stopped dancing professionally, I challenged myself and started to do figure competitions to put on some muscle. I was always very slight as a ballerina. I was, the typical 99-pound weakling. So I no joke. And so I started to learn about diet and nutrition and what to eat to put on muscle. Weight had never really been an issue, but I really needed to learn how to develop my body. And as I became older, it became more and more apparent that being fit was more about feeling good and not necessarily just about looking good, right? So we all want to look great in a bikini. Who doesn't? But as we get older, and I turned 51 in September.
Wow.
Wow, this year has flown by. I remember my 50th birthday, but 51, and I feel wonderful because of my healthy lifestyle. So all of that said, a few years ago, I decided that I was going to start a personal brand on social media. And I have teenage daughters, so I felt even more encouraged to explain to young women of our age, women and moms who have just had children, how important it is to take care of yourself. And I was very fortunate. I guess the jump rope had a little bit to do with it, but yes, I've grown a wonderful social media following. I have people from all over the world. I know you're in Australia. I have yet to be there. But I have some wonderful women at Pilates friends in Australia that I connected with on social media. And it's just been a wild journey, one that I would not change. It's been really amazing to meet people and to do what I love in a passionate and meaningful way.
Oh, you look absolutely fabulous, darling, at 51. Most women would love to have a bikini body like you, but more importantly, the health that you have. And I know as we mature, this is a big thing for women. So let's talk about the jump rope stuff. Now, you've gone from ballerina into health and wealthy lifestyle. Where did the jump rope come into it? How did you discover that you thought, this is going to be me? I'm going to become the jump rope queen? Because I've watched you, and man, my eyes can't even keep up with it.
Well, I love that question. And I'll tell you how I started. But first of all, I will not take credit for being that amazing when it comes to jump rope. I'm not bad for a 51-year-old woman, but there's so many people all over the world that I follow myself on social media that are doing flips and twists. And I try to hold my own. And the truth is that I had not jump roped as a kid. A lot of people say that's something I must have done when I was little, but I hadn't. I actually started jump roping when I was 43. And yes, and I'm going to list all the benefits in a little bit, but just to tell you my story of how I started.
Yeah.
I knew that I needed to do cardio. Yep. And I am not a runner. Do you like to run?
I am a runner. That's my background, actually.
Okay. So I kudos to you, because I cannot run. I get very bored, but it's not for everyone. And a lot of my best friends are marathon runners, and they encourage me. So I just decided one day I need to do a different form of cardio. And I was at my gym, and there was a trainer who was a boxer. He had a boxing background, and I saw him doing all these tricks.
Yeah.
And because I have a dancing background, I said, you know what? I'm a little coordinated. And so I picked up the rope. I could not jump in the beginning. I knew nothing about it. I knew nothing about the correct form, how long the rope should be. I went on YouTube, I learned, I practiced religiously every day, and I became very excited about it, and just put my music on and get into my head and started learning tricks. And so it's been less than 10 years that I've been jumping rope.
It's incredible. And what I'm picking up here, listening intently to what you're saying, is so many women will be watching this and they're thinking in their mind, oh, I'm too old to start anything like that, or I might hurt myself, or it's too late for me now. I'm out of shape. What would you say to a woman who's looking at you going, oh my goodness, I would never be able to be that fit and that healthy? It's never too late to start. What would you say?
It's never too late. And so a couple of points worth mentioning. I'm a firm believer in, when it comes to exercise, doing what you enjoy. So, right. And like you just said, running isn't for everybody. Mm-hmm. If that was my only option, I probably would not be exercising on a periodic basis. So my advice is, there's lots of things, ladies. Find the thing that you enjoy. Whether it's taking a class or yoga or going on a walk or swimming, whatever it is, there's something you're passionate about. Obviously, you want to switch it up a little bit. It's not good for your body to always do the same thing. But if you're forcing yourself to exercise, you're not going to want to do it. You're not going to be consistent about it. So the trick is, try something new, try something fun. If it means you have to grab a buddy to do that, so be it. But whatever you can do, no matter what age you are, enjoy it, embrace it, and you will feel 1,000 times better in your life because of it.
I agree with you. Now, what I'd love to quickly ask you about now and dive into, there's a lot of talk about mental health issues. From your perspective, being as fit as you are, taking the time every day to work on yourself, practice self-love. How has that been a benefit to your mindset and your mental state of health?
The main reason I have always exercised and stayed fit is for my mental health.
Yeah.
And I always tease people and say, if there's ever a day where you see me get out of shape and it means that like everything's so great that I don't feel the need to, I use exercise as a way of meditating, decompressing, and it's been very challenging. If anybody has had a challenge to fit that in, it has been me. Like many women, right? We're juggling so many things. I've owned and operated multiple business simultaneously. I have, teenage daughters. I come from New York. it's, a very fast-paced,
Yes.
hurried environment. So what I've always done is I've been very consistent, and I actually schedule my workouts because I know if I have meetings throughout the day, it's not going to happen unless I have a designated time. So I would just encourage anybody to use that time to help yourself mentally. The physical aspect is always an added benefit, but as a psychologist and someone who has exercised my whole life, I cannot attest more to the mental assistance and just, help that it's given me.
I love that you just talked about, and I'm so into this as well, is that you have a designated time to exercise. And yet so many women that I've spoken with and mentored along the way have always felt that it's selfish to take time for themselves, or, they're so busy. And I can see that you're a very, very busy woman. Do you prioritize do you do this of a morning, or how do you schedule your day? Because I know you're pretty much flat out like most of us.
Sure. Well, so it would be great. It's always helpful if you can schedule your workouts around the same time every day. And I try to do that, but it doesn't always happen. I have to be flexible with different demands and adjusting my schedule. But what I do want to respond to is what you just said about guilt. And
Yes, let's talk about
I'm
that.
Italian. I have an Italian background. Italian moms are notorious for guilt, and I grew up with that culture. And so anybody who's listening who feels guilty about getting your nails done, or guilty about taking that long walk, maybe closing the bedroom door and reading a book at night while your children are downstairs watching TV. Remember that all of you moms out there, you are people too. And the more that you take care of yourself, the more energy you have. I know a lot of moms who refuse to take care of themselves, and they end up edgy and grumpy, and that's not beneficial for anyone. So although I do restrain myself from certain things, I don't have a lot of friends that I go out and socialize with. That's not as important to me as spending time with my family. I do make sure that I find the time to do the things that are important for me, that keep me healthy, and that when I am with my family and I am in a good mood, that I don't feel guilty about that.
I love that about you, because what you're saying here is that you have enough self-worth that you prioritize your day, what's important for you. Because would you agree that so many of us, especially women, we're people pleasers, and we find it hard to say no to social activities, to running the kids around and running ourselves ragged. What would you say about that? Where we wear this mask of conformity and we're pleasers.
It's the biggest problem out there for women.
Yeah.
And you do have to know when you can say no to, whatever it is, whether it's a work situation and you're being asked to do something too unreasonable, or it's children's demands or your partner's demands. So the more that you can kind of balance your own priorities with the priorities of others, you're definitely going to be happy. I know it's not easy, but I will tell you that turning 50 was a huge milestone for me. I wouldn't call it a midlife crisis. I would call it a midlife revelation. And I really did it. It was a very, very good year of learning for me and looking back at the things I liked what I did in my life and the things I felt I can improve. And so this last year, that's what I've been doing. I've been trying to really focus a little bit more on what makes me happy and how that my behavior will in turn affect the people around me.
Yeah, I love that, because it sounds to me like you're present in your own life. And do you agree that so many people just go through life letting the day happen to them? They get to that, we might get to our 50s and go, what the heck happened? Where did my life go? What's left for me? But you're very present in your life.
It's so easy to get caught up in that, right? And especially you start to get into the workforce and then possibly get married and have children and buy a house. And we just go through the motions in life. And really one of the things that has helped me to kind of look past all that now is I'm at a stage where my children are older. My oldest daughter left for college this year.
Wow.
And my little one is very independent, which gave me more time for myself, time to reflect. And when I do, it sounds like very stereotypical, but all of a sudden I look outside, I smell the roses, I see things I hadn't seen before. And I encourage any of you who are not yet at the stage that I am, where you're starting to gain back your independence and you're still entrenched in the working, the mom, the kids, the cooking, please take time. You will be so much happier down the road if you can look beyond what is in the very short-term distance from you.
Sage advice. I can feel the radiation coming from you. So lighting up just talking about this. And I'd love just to pivot just slightly here, because so many women are thinking 3 million followers on social media, because everybody right now, it's the thing, they want to be an influencer, they want instant fame, instant fortune. Let's talk about how you made the transition from corporate to influencer, how it shaped your life, and what would you say to women who would love to have a following like you?
Sure. That's probably one of the biggest questions I get all the time was, how did you do that? Right.
Yeah.
And so this is my answer, and I'll explain a little bit how my career has morphed from corporate to influencer. And now I'm actually the owner of my own digital marketing firm because of all of the experience I have in the industry. So yes, it started out really as more of a passion / hobby for me, but I am always very transparent in saying that everything I do, I try to put my best foot forward. So I did not go about this haphazardly. I learned about social media. I thought about what it was about me and the message that I wanted to send and what made me special. And I think that's important because there are so many people who have really interesting stories or messages to send, but they get all caught up in, what's trending, what's popular, and their individuality is not coming through. So the first thing that you want to do is, if you do feel that you have something that you want to communicate, is to really brand yourself, think about the message, think about the people that message will resonate with. And so I really approached my social media brand as a business, in understanding who the people were that would relate to me. And I engaged in a lot of public relation activities. So you don't gain 3 million followers by, just sitting there and hoping they come to you. I was very diligent about reaching out, and this is such an honor now to be on the cover of Millionairess magazine. My goodness. But I haven't seen the cover yet, by the way, guys. I can't wait to see.
Beautiful.
I love surprises. But I reached out and I wrote many, many articles for health and wellness magazines. I've spoken on podcasts, on radio. I've even jump roped on television for Fox 5 in New York. And all of that was part of me building my brand and getting my message out there. So anything worth having does not come easy. If you want something, you need to put the time in. And one of my favorite expressions is that success happens when preparation meets opportunity.
Exactly what I say. I love that. I'm so glad you touched on that, because so many younger women, they get their phone, they start out and they're all over the place. And I'm certainly no genius. Let me explain. In social media, we're all figuring it out, but they have this need or desire to be an overnight success. From your experience, do you say that it takes time, it takes patience? What do you need to know to be able to get to that stage where you're at?
Patience is everything. and the older we get, the more we realize it. It's not an easy thing to have, but yes, you need to persevere. And because of the work that I've done with my personal brand, I decided with one of my co-founders to start my digital marketing agency, JD Media. And I will bring this up because patience is also something that we try to teach our clients. So one of the things that we do is we work with all size companies, but especially startup companies. They're trying, just like individuals, right, to grow their presence on social media. They have products to sell, things that are helpful to others. And it's really important that brands, just like individuals, take the time to really hone back, understand what it is that their key value proposition is to their customer, and that they communicate that through their social platforms. So we see so many brands out there that are not posting relevant material or periodically. And what we try to do is help them understand the strategy of how to grow on social and then how to match that up with any sort of paid media that they're running. And so this has just been a common theme in general. And, I try to explain to people, do your homework, have the patience, give things time. If you work hard enough, where there's a will, there's a way.
And what I'm taking from this is focusing on what the potential customer wants, not what you necessarily just want to put out there. So it's strategic, you're thinking about it. Does it make sense to the person you want to attract into your business?
1000%. And some people will say, whether it's an individual developing their own brand or a company developing their brand, well, we don't want to be not authentic. We want to, and that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying to only do things or say things that you are expecting others to relate to. But what is important is that you understand where your value is. And that's what you're sending out and putting out into the universe.
This is true gold, ladies. I hope you're taking notes in your journal. Thank you for sharing this. What about the flip side, though? Let's talk about that, because I've been on it myself. I understand social media. People get behind a keyboard. We call them keyboard warriors these days. With building such a beautiful brand, a social influence following, there comes the flip side. It's not all positive without the negative. Can you share a little bit about that? Because I think that that's a fear that holds so many women back that have an amazing message or product or service to share with the world. Can you share how to overcome that?
Well, I'm really glad you asked me that, because so it will only be 4 years this February that I first posted on Instagram.
4 years. Wow, that's phenomenal growth. Congratulations.
Thank you. It was 2017.
Wow.
And I remember it was very late at night, and I had a few different jump rope videos that I saved. I was using my old flip phone probably at the time. I was petrified. I really wanted to hit that post button, but I was so afraid, and all these things went through my head. And I said, gosh, I'm 47, and are they going to laugh at me, or what are people going to think? And it takes a lot of courage to do something new, right? And it takes a lot of courage to be your true self.
Yes.
And I did it. I pressed the button, and all of a sudden, I saw somebody liked my post. I didn't know the person. His name was Manu. He still follows me.
Oh, that's amazing.
Okay. I never forgot that. And throughout, the reason I'm glad you asked is 4 years doesn't seem like a lot, but the amount that has happened within my life in the last 4 years has been immense. The amount of changes have been incredible in a very, very positive way. So I almost forget what that was like. But now that you ask it, I'm forced to remember it was a growth process, and it was something that even somebody like me who has a lot of professional, confident corporate experience, I was still vulnerable. But you can't ever experience things if you don't allow yourself to take risks. And somebody told me something once, which, whenever we start a new business venture, whenever we start anything new, we always, if we're the type of person who, maybe is a little hesitant with which most people are, is we always tend to look at other people. That person does it better. They understand it more. And we start to get in ourselves, and maybe it holds ourselves back. And somebody once said to me that the most successful people in the world, the wealthiest, most successful people, have failed more often than they've succeeded.
Yes.
And it's 100% accurate, because you cannot succeed if you're not willing to take risk. So my words of wisdom for anybody out there who is contemplating, whether it's starting to get out on social media, whether it's, starting a new relationship or a new career, new business, whatever that is, it's better to regret. You will never regret trying something, but you'll always regret it if you don't try it.
I agree. I 100% with you. I call it, I sort of talk about like, when you have a jacket of life. And as we go through life and grow through life, some jackets sometimes don't fit anymore. They're not in style anymore. You just worn that one out. And so I've had 14 businesses.
I love it.
So many perceived failures, but they're all beautiful lessons, and they're just jackets of life that don't fit me anymore. And I think when I talk about that, it sort of calms down the feeling of self doubt, and we bring ourselves down. I think we're so hard on ourselves as women, but that's what I like to say. They're just different jackets of life, and it's okay to take one off and pop a new one on. You're not a failure. At least I say, I'm a bit like you, I think, Janine. I'd rather go to the end of my days knowing that I did everything I could with everything I had than die wondering.
I love it. And I hope I have your permission to use that example. I've never heard the jacket of life. I will use it now. It's fabulous. I love it.
Oh, please do, because it just takes it's okay. We change our wardrobe every other summer or winter or autumn or spring. So why not change our direction in life? Now, we talk about failures, but what about the keyboard warriors, the people who just want to pull you down? I call them pullers in life. And I think as an entrepreneur, we all have them, right? Especially when you're putting yourself out there. I know I have in life and business. How do you deal with those people? Do you address it or do you ignore it?
So when I first started posting on social media, I received all kind of crazy comments. Somebody called me a little man because of my muscles. I'm only 5'2" and I weigh 115. I really don't think I look like a little man.
That is funny, actually.
It's there's all trollers out there and negativity. And one of the things I've taught my teenage daughters, and I feel very strongly about, is really to not engage with people who have, any kind of negativity. You only have so much energy in life, and you should really focus that energy on positive things. So a lot of younger people nowadays, and they have all these conversations on text, and my teenagers have friends that maybe start fights on text. And what we've always spoken about at home is pick up the phone. If somebody has an issue, don't hide behind the keyboard, right? Communication is always better than writing something. And when I was receiving the negative comments, and I would just, I would delete them. I didn't feel the need to engage. I'm not going to lie and say that some of them didn't bother me, but I am okay with that, because I think that's part of growth as an individual. Not everybody's going to like you. Not everybody's going to think, some people, I even had one video, this is really funny actually. I had one video where I was doing a leg exercise, and I literally had one comment of somebody saying, Janine, I think you're overtraining your legs. They look huge. And then, wait. Then the next comment was somebody saying, oh my gosh, her legs are so skinny.
Wow, exactly.
So you cannot please everybody. What's important is that you please yourself.
I agree, and just focus on where you want to head to, not what has been. I remember once when I was on stage, we asked for some feedback. I think there was a room of about 450 people, and we got all this great feedback. It was a seminar we'd done, my husband and I, and there was one comment that I focused on, and it was a lady who said that I really need to get some professional help with my makeup. My face is all shiny, and I'm thinking, oh my goodness. But the lesson that I want to share is that for a few weeks, I focused on that one negative and forgot about all the few hundred positives. And I think as women, we really do put too much credence on what other people think. And if we stay focused on track with where we're heading and the people we want to help, I think that's the lesson I got from it.
It really is. And it's just human nature to often focus on negative things and have that be the most salient in our minds. And I always, when I start to get into that whole negative mindset, let's face it, this was a really difficult year for all of us, right? Yes. It's very, very easy to focus on the negative. So we now are at a point now where we're starting to have that sort of behavior and mental state. It's not a good thing. What I've been trying to do lately is, instead of looking at the negativity, I try to think about, okay, well, what do I have that's so great and so good? And the more I can, overcome the negativity with all the positive things, then it starts to kind of lighten my load.
I started practicing gratitude, writing down 5 or 6 things I'm grateful for every day or every night before I go to bed, back in 2006, I think, and it really changed my life.
Good for
And
you.
yeah, and I've just because what we focus on it, gratitude, and I'd write things that I wanted to bring into my life that I didn't even have. I was dead broke at that time with all the gear and no idea. And it really changed my life. And I think that the more we focus on being grateful instead of ungrateful, it really does help our mental state as well, from my experience.
Yes. That's
so,
wonderful.
Janine, I'd love to ask you, being a mentor yourself, you've got all these people following, you've got beautiful daughters. How important, or from your background as a bodybuilder and a ballerina, how important do you believe it is to surround yourself with greatness and mentors who can show you the way and save all those years of heartache?
I've always been drawn to people who can add value to my life. Even though I'm out there on social media and have a public presence, I'm very much of a one-to-one individual person. And so I tend to find people that I can have great conversations with. I love to learn things, and that's so important to me. The wise man is he knows nothing. And that's how I've kind of gone through my life. So very open to conversations when I find people of interest. And this world of social media and being out in the public is one of the most rewarding things, because it does give you an opportunity to surround yourself with people who can add value in multiple areas of your life, as opposed to, staying in the same town, growing up in the same town, never leaving the same town. Your world becomes very small. Yes. So to the extent that people are able to meet others with different and varied interests and get learnings from them, the richer you will become as a person.
And what I'm noticing about you, with the following that you have, which is really incredible, 3 million, let's face it, plus, no doubt, more than that. You're very humble and very gracious. How important would you say it is what would you say to other ladies watching this who are on that trajectory and they're just seeing all the one side of life and look at me? How important is being humble and staying gracious?
That's very sweet that you said that. And that's probably one of the biggest compliments that I can receive, because yes, I do consider myself humble. And the reason being is that I'm very appreciative of everything I have in life. I have worked very hard for what I have. I will never forget, things in my life at times where I wish they were better, or I wish I had more. So I think the most important message is to just always appreciate what you have, never take it for granted. And if you can do that, you're going to be a very happy person.
I love that. And what would you say to the woman watching this who's thinking about getting started, wanting to take her gifts and talents to the world, become a social influencer like yourself, that really does impact other people's lives in a positive way? What advice would you give to someone just beginning?
You just need to take a leap of faith and trust in the process. Rome wasn't built in a day. Things take time. Don't worry about this and what am I going to do? Just do it. Just go ahead and do it. And every day will take care of itself. Not everything's going to be positive all the time. Of course, there's going to be bumps in the road. But if you worry and you procrastinate, enjoy the process.
Beautiful. Janine, what do you love most about what you do? Because you just radiate, you're just so happy. You just love it. I can tell. You're about to start skipping, aren't you?
Well, I know you asked me to do a demo. I right now I have this long jumpsuit on, and I'll be honest, I don't have my sneakers either, so I can't do a demo. But I will say this, anybody, obviously, when the magazine, when it comes out and you find me and you can always, anybody listening out there who wants to reach out to me, I manage my own social media pages. I would love for you to message me, tell me that you saw me on Millionairess, and I will be happy to get back to you. But what do I love most about what I do is I love interacting with others, people that I find interesting, and people who make me smile. You make me smile. I really enjoyed today, and that's very rewarding to me. So it's really a great opportunity to be able to do this with you today.
Oh, I am sure all of our followers will be looking you up, following you. This is just we haven't even scratched the surface of Janine's life and what you've achieved at such a young age. And, you know, you really are a woman that our followers can look to for guidance in health and well-being, on being an entrepreneur, creating something that's going to impact lives for the better. And I'm so appreciative. But I must ask you one last question, if that's cool.
Of course.
Janine, what specifically would you love to be known and remembered for?
Oh my goodness. I think that I would love to be known and remembered for, this is going to sound corny, but I really enjoy when I'm in a good mood and I make other people happy. There's nothing like making someone smile. And so I guess the word would probably be like a little ray of light, making other people happy and feel good about themselves. I like to make others feel good about themselves.
I'm so glad you said that, because in my mind, as you were speaking, I'm thinking lighthouse. You are a true lighthouse for other women, and you're living your legacy. And as I said, we haven't even scratched the surface. I have loved every moment of our conversation, and I don't believe this will be the last time you and I chat with each other.
I hope not.
I'll be coming over there to New York. You'll be coming here to Australia.
I will be there one day for sure. Absolutely.
And do you have any final messages or anything that you would love to leave with our beautiful ladies that I know will be loving this conversation?
Yes, I know that Millionairess, obviously the essence is to be courageous, to go after your dreams. And so I would just want to encourage everybody that we have one opportunity in life to be the best that we can. Don't be afraid. Take challenges, push your limits, take risks. At the end of the day, right, you answer to yourself, and you want to be able to say, I did everything that is what I wanted to do, and there were no hold bars, and I lived the best possible life that I could.
Beautiful, beautiful advice. And again, thank you so much. Ladies, you know where to follow Janine. All the links are here. And what a wonderful conversation we've had, full of richness. And thank you for being an integral part of the Millionairess movement and gracing the cover of this month's Millionairess magazine, which you're featured in. We are so appreciative of that. And I know that you're going to impact thousands and thousands of lives through this conversation. Thank you, beautiful lady.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome.
Okay, beautiful. I will let you go. I hope you have a fabulous afternoon. And
I'll look forward to hearing from your team and any updates. And of course, when the issue comes out, I'm going to blast it all over, and it'll be amazing. I can't wait. Of course I will.
It's coming out in a few weeks with you on the cover.
Yeah, in a couple of weeks. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and we can impact all these women. But yeah, I'll let you know, and I'll send you a photo with my jump rope. Okay. All right, beautiful. You have a lovely afternoon, and we'll talk soon.
Okay, bye.
Bye, Janine.